Didn't realize we didn't have the microphone set up. What is going on, everybody, on YouTube? Griffin here, coming back to you guys with another live stream. Let me go ahead and actually get my screen share set up here. That way you all can actually see what is going on here. Running just a couple minutes behind today. Had some stuff going on today. But hopefully you all are having a great start to spring already. It's hard to believe, right? We're already in spring. You know, just doing the thing. And also for the first time, I'm actually also going live behind the scenes as well. So if you're somebody that kind of enjoys seeing stuff behind the scenes, I figured, why not go ahead and utilize both platforms, try to reach more people, all that type of stuff, with the algorithm, doing the YouTube thing, right? But first and foremost, before we get going, I want to make sure that I do have the chat pulled up first and foremost. Let me go ahead and go here, because I see we have a couple y'all already in here. Give me just a second here and get this all loaded up here for you guys. That way you all will see the chat, I see the chat, all that good stuff. If you're new to me and new to my live streams, by the way, we do these streams. We try to once a week, ideally. However, we do it as we can, more than anything, being a business owner myself. And I do these live streams specifically for you guys. That way, if you have any questions or anything like that whatsoever, then you can, drop it in the chat and I'll answer that to the best of my ability. So with that, hopefully we can get this going here. Let me see. YouTube chat. Here we go. This one. And maybe this one right here. There we go. Awesome. Yeah, I always like to try to keep the chat pulled up for you guys as well. That way, of course, if you all have any questions, you can keep it pulled up there. And yeah, go ahead and fire those questions away, guys. Like I said, we're live, sharing the screen as well as live on mobile as well behind the scenes. And the main topic for today, like I was mentioning, for those of you that are newer to just my streams, I know we're getting more and more of you in here every single day, be it from YouTube shorts, the live streams, the videos, whatever the case may be. The live streams are specifically more Q&A format, so by all means go ahead, regardless if you're watching behind the scenes or if you're watching here with the screen share stream, go ahead and fire any questions that you may have. And I'll usually bring in a topic as well. Like you guys probably see, the topic for today is how to go about just getting customers. That's what we talk about a lot on this channel, right? That's why most of you are here. You want to learn how can I get these customers, right? Some of you asked some of the questions about obviously licensing and insurance and this and that and the other, but your ultimate question, of course, is how do I grow my business? How do I get customers? How do I, do this and that and the other? So, I think our chat went away there for a second. Give some shout outs to some of you that are already in the chat. I see we got, I don't want to mess up your name here. Is it Stephanie or Stefan? Maybe Stefan. Stefan, how's it going? And then we got David as well. Once again, how's it going? And I always like to take the first couple minutes of a stream to let people start filing in. I know it takes a little bit for the alerts and all that to get sent out, and that's why we bring a topic. So as we wait for people to come in, both behind the scenes as well as in the chat with questions and all that stuff, I'll just kind of dive in to, like I said, kind of the overall topic of what I labeled as like digital advertising, something like that. Digital advertising. So one of the most important things when we talk about quote unquote digital advertising, because digital advertising is a very, very broad subject. Like, so many people, especially digital advertising agencies, they'll tell you that they master in everything. We brought this up briefly, I believe, in last week's stream as well. If you run into one of these agencies that claim to kind of know it all in all of the categories, then you probably want to run away, because a lot of times, you know, these agencies are either going to master in like Google ads, Facebook ads. They may do Google ads and Facebook ads, but they're not going to just know everything. They're not going to be an SEO company, a Google ads company, very rarely. Now, maybe if you're dealing with a much larger corporation, then of course they hire enough people to, you know, sustain that ship. But for the most part, when you're hiring like individual smaller companies that are, you know, marketing agencies, they're going to tend to master in one thing. So always be wary with that. If you're someone like me, where, you know, you're starting out all on your own and you just need to simply figure it out, so to speak, on how to figure out where your calls are coming from. That way you can better allocate your resources from your business, your money, right? The most important tool before you really set up anything in terms of an ad is going to be this application CallRail. CallRail, they have a mobile app, but you'll always want to kind of do everything through the desktop version. It's just a lot easier. There's a lot more, just like anything, right? Apps are kind of good in terms of just getting a good look at everything. When a lead comes in, you can give it a thumbs up, gives it a thumbs down. They actually give that information to like Google Ads and things like that with their integrations. That way Google's technology knows, okay, this isn't the type of person that they're trying to reach. And then, okay, they said this was a qualified lead. Let's try to funnel this ad to more people that fit this type of person, if that makes sense. Because Google obviously has everyone's information. So CallRail is definitely who we suggest for that. There's a couple other ones out there, but I've been using CallRail now for like 2 years, I want to say, maybe even more. It's hard to say, and the pricing is pretty straightforward. They do have like a $49 a month option. The $99 is the best bang for buck, in my opinion. Very similar to pricing to GorillaDesk, as a matter of fact, almost identical in terms of like, yeah, you can get by with that $49 a month plan, but that $99 a month plan through CallRail is really going to, you know, set you up. You're going to be able to also track your forms, which is obviously very, very important. You might as well, you're already going to be spending the money. You might as well spend the money you need to go ahead and get everything you need, in my opinion. That way, as soon as a lead comes in, be it from your website, right, you will know exactly the keyword that triggered, you know, in terms of a Google ad, for example, what keyword triggered them to click on your ad, see your ad, all that information, as well as which ad it was. You know, you'll have all of that information in your report. So very nice tool. I've talked about CallRail. I believe we even have a couple videos recently about CallRail. And then the cool thing too is I believe you get like, what is it, 5 phone numbers, something like that, included in your plan. And then it's pretty cheap going forward. It's something like $5 a month per additional phone number. You can see we have like 8 active, and I believe our bill recently was like 110, maybe 115, and then obviously tax on top of that. You can see we have one for like our Google business page, our termite control ad, our bed bug ad, and then our pest control Google ad as well. You can see the source, it's all Google ads right there. And then you're probably wondering, what is keyword pool? And it says source all. This is what goes on your website. So whenever we actually go to my website here, you know, preferredpestmanagement.org, the phone number, and we're actually in the process of messing with our menu. That's why it kind of looks like a mess right now, so don't pay attention to that really. But whenever we have a phone number on our website, you know, this phone number here, for example, that phone number will change between 4 different tracking numbers. It's a keyword pool phone number, and that is what you're going to set up like actually on your website for call tracking. There's a lot of technical stuff as to why you need it. If I recall, a lot of it has to do with like spam maybe and things of that nature. But that is what you will use. You'll actually use the keyword pool to actually, like, say you put a call tracking number in your header. We also have that as well. You just don't see the phone number because it just says, you know, call for an estimate. But if you hit that, then of course it'll trigger that phone number. So, you know, ideally, now it doesn't switch every time. It should, and you'll actually get like little notifications. You know, it'll say that like number swapping too fast or not fast enough, things of that nature. And that'd be, you know, if you're having some kind of issue. I had an issue like that about a year ago. I haven't had an issue with it since. I forgot what I even had to do exactly, but like, so see right now it's a number ending in 23958. If we actually reload this page here, then you will actually see, scroll back up a little bit. I don't know why it had us go down. So see, it didn't change at that time. So like I said, not every single time, and maybe it will because the page is still loading. Let's see. No. Yeah, sometimes it'll change. They call it like dynamic, what they call it, like dynamic number swap, something like that is like the terminology that they use for that. But yeah, it's like I said, there's a lot of technical stuff that goes into that. I actually had that set up. That was part of what GorillaDesk did for me when they originally set up this website, was they went ahead and set this up. And then once I canceled my hosting plan with them, because they were hosting my website originally, they just essentially gave me my login information for CallRail. That way I could, you know, continue to use it. So yeah, and then of course you have like call recording, which is very, very neat because you can actually go in. Let me see, do we need to go into analytics? I believe you can actually go in here and listen to all of your phone calls. It'll store all of your text messages. And the cool thing too is they do have it set up where, say you live in a state where you have to, you know, put the whole, this call may be recorded for quality assurance or whatever, pretty much letting them know that you're recording the call. If your state is one of those states, they do have that option. It's just a little toggle switch as you're setting up each phone number with CallRail. They give you that option. That way you can be, you know, compliant with the state. I'm trying to get into my analytics. I don't know why it sent us back to the page that I was just on. So yeah, actually you can see right here. So that makes sense why our number didn't switch. It's saying number swapping too fast. Number in keyword pool for your company for pest management are swapping too fast. Your leads may not be tracking correctly. I can tell you though firsthand that it is tracking correctly, because I've literally, each call that I've gotten within the last week, I've gotten the email about, because that's the other thing, CallRail will send you an email after each phone call. That way, you know, like I said, that information, where it came from, did it come from an ad, what keyword did they use, all of that type of stuff. So that's something you want to keep an eye on. And if you start to notice that you're not getting those alerts, or whenever you know, you go into your actual analytics and things of that nature, let's see, let's go into recent activity to give you guys kind of an idea. You know, when you go in here, if you start to see that, you know, there's not any type of source, you know, Google My Business, a lot of these are just organic from my Google Business profile. But see how it says direct? That is telling me that, you know, they came from the website. So that alone tells me that you know, the numbers are swapping and doing what they're supposed to do. But like you all just seen when I refresh that page, they're not swapping every single time. So like I said, it's something to keep an eye on. But yeah, I mean, look at this. This is a prime example of what is neat about this, is we can actually dive in here to this phone call here. This is from, you know, like I mentioned on my video about CallRail recently, we were having issues where the integration with Google Ads was not working whatsoever. Hence why there's literally like no data. And then just recently, I don't know what happened. I emailed CallRail about it, and, you know, I was letting them know, like, man, I'm having like all these issues. I'm like, the only way I'm knowing if I'm getting a lead from my Google ad is if they submit a form. The calls are not, nothing is registering with Google Ads as a conversion. So I don't know what they did, but they got it fixed, at least temporarily. You can see here the other day we got a phone call. It even got the email, because again, it's through Google. They know everything about you. And looky there, it even tells us the keyword that triggered our ad, pest control near me. was the keyword. It tells you the landing page. That was a qualified lead, so I need to go ahead and hit that. That way Google knows, because again, with that integration, CallRail will actually tell Google that yes, this was a qualified lead. That way Google will start to gather more data over time and pump out your ad to people that you want seeing your ad. So say for example, this was not someone who was a qualified lead, right? Say it was a scam call, or say it was a call from someone that just can't afford your business, your services, right? Whatever the case may be, not a qualified lead. You just hit that as thumbs down instead of thumbs up. And then the same concept, right? You're gonna have CallRail send that information back to Google Ads, and then Google Ads will start to tweak things for you. And then now I should preface that with, by just doing this alone, that doesn't mean you just hit thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs up, thumbs down, and Google does all the work for you. You still need to be going in and taking a look at your analytics, see if you're getting a lot of traffic from, maybe it's low income, or maybe it's super high income. I actually just noticed recently with my Google ad that even though we're getting a lot of traffic from higher income people, a lot of those people are very, very cheap. So, it kind of goes counter to what you would think. You would think, well, the people that are probably making 6-7 figures, they're just gonna, fork over the money, right? But as the saying goes, they don't get rich for no reason, by mistake. A lot of times they can be, cheapskates with their money. So, you still need to go in there, take a look at your analytics, ideally at least once a week at the minimum within Google Ads, not Google Analytics, within Google Ads specifically, with, your audience types and things of that nature. So let me see real quick. If we got any questions. Don't have any questions on behind the scenes. I see, is it Stefan or Steph? I think it's Stefan. I see Stefan was in behind the scenes as well. Yeah, like I said, guys, if you have any questions, that is what these Q&As specifically are for. Hopefully, by the way, everything with the stream is going all right for you guys right now. I see we got just over half a dozen of you guys in here so far. If you have any questions, it doesn't even have to be, about what I'm talking about. It can be just anything, business related. Feel free to drop it in the chat. That's what these are all about at the end of the day for you guys. And do me a favor, by the way, if you're enjoying the stream, smash the thumbs up button. It helps other people, find the channel, and which leads me to another point. Go ahead and share the stream, regardless if you're, watching behind the scenes or you're watching on the screen share. Which, by the way, if you're seeing us behind the scenes and you actually want to see, what I'm showing you guys on the screen, there is a link in the description box of the behind the scenes. Those of you that are seeing me right now, if you want to see what's on my screen, there's a link in the description box to this stream. I'm just trying something out here with the whole behind the scenes stuff. I've seen a lot of people are starting to do that as well. So just giving it a try, if nothing else. But yeah, of course, if you have any questions, those of you behind the scenes, drop them in the chat. Those of you that are watching the screen share, drop it in the chat. Otherwise, we'll just keep things moving. So yeah, CallRail is paramount. It is first and foremost what you need to get set up before you set up any advertising, in my opinion. Why? It's kind of common sense, in my opinion. Why would you want to set that up first? Because why would you invest money into ads that you don't know are converting, right? I remember when I first started my business, I started up a Facebook campaign. I started up a Google campaign. I started up a Nextdoor campaign. I started up even a Yelp campaign because they gave, a little credit or something like that. I had all these campaigns going around for like, some tiny amount, $10 to $30 a day. And I had no idea, other than the one good thing with Google Ads, when you do a call ad specifically, it'll ding in your ear that, this is a call from your Google ad. That's pretty cool, at least when it comes to Google specifically. But outside of that, someone submitted a form, if someone called you from Yelp, someone called you from Facebook, whatever the case may be, the only way you could track is if you did the old school, how did you hear about us, right? So CallRail, makes that to where, like I said, you're able to just make informed decisions at the end of the day. for your business in terms of where your ad money is being best spent. Like so far, you can see within the last 7 days, our Google business profile, we're getting some organic traffic from the website as well, which is pretty cool to see. But our Google business profile, once again, is kicking everything's butt. So that is why we continue to invest time and resources into making sure that our Google business profile is on the up and up. This one this morning came from our Google business. So, it's just, it allows you, like I said, to take a step back and actually, like we said, make informed decisions on, what's working, what's not working. Now, again, I have to preface this data right now with the fact that our call tracking and form tracking integration with CallRail to Google Ads just finally within like the last week, I believe within the last week, like less than 10 days roughly, just started firing again. So it's awesome to see that that's working now. So I'm interested to see, how April goes, since we're at the end of March, how April goes for our Google Ads. And, hey, does it actually end up paying off to actually continue to just actually invest into our SEO, be it for website and our Google business profile, than it actually does to, pay for Google Ads. Those of you that are in our Discord group chat know I was actually just talking about that the other day. The fact that, I'm starting to wonder, I'm spending this month, it'll be like right at $1,000. Last month, I believe it was like $1,200, something like that. I'm spending, considerable amount of money, $1,000 to $2,000 a month on Google Ads. And we've been running Google Ads consistently now for about 4 months roughly. And, would that money be better off spent in website SEO? Because obviously you guys know I'm very good at the local SEO game, the Google business profile. Like, I'm very good at that side of things. But the website SEO, I'm constantly tweaking, developing, trying to figure out what's going on. It seems like every time I start to figure it out, there's some algorithm update and it drops my rankings down. I literally just actually, speaking of which, edited my homepage just yesterday. I tried to kind of shorten things up a little bit. The websites that are ranking at the top, I noticed, didn't have quite as much, just words, essentially. Like, there wasn't a bunch of like paragraphs and things of that nature. It was kind of just like bullet points, couple paragraphs, maybe down towards the bottom of the page, keyword stuffing essentially. But a majority of the page was kind of like what we did here. We got our things about, pest control service near you, pest control in Dallas, get your quote, customer testimonials, little bit about us, things like that, our warranty, and then of course our pricing. That was something I noticed a lot of people have been pushing lately, is having some type of transparent pricing on their website, which will help with your leads too, because obviously if someone scrolls on your website and they see, oh, I think this is too much, then it doesn't waste your time or their time, because they're just going to bounce out of the website versus, doing the whole price haggling of, oh, well, I called such and such and, they're saying $29 a month, right? That just kind of eliminates all that BS from the get-go. We actually just plugged this in here yesterday. So we have that. And then, like I said, down towards the bottom of the page, we actually shortened this up a little bit. We had a lot of really just uninterrupted paragraphs. Like, there weren't really any pictures. I plugged in this cover photo yesterday, made these pictures a little bit larger. Like I said, just trying to break up the text. That was one thing I noticed, was the websites that are ranking best right now, some of them are starting to rank out of nowhere too, like newer companies that are newer than mine, which kind of, by the way, goes counterintuitive to what we hear from all these SEO experts, right? What do we always hear from those guys? It takes time. It takes time. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying go edit your website and next week you're going to be page one. But there's companies that I know that have been in business for less than 2 years that are up, top 5, top 10 positions on Google with their website right now. So, it goes to show that, yes, it's still going to take time. Whatever you do, it's probably going to take a minimum of about 6 months. But You know, don't buy the BS that like, oh, you know, just because a company has been in business for 20 years that they're automatically going to rank above you, and there's really not much you can do about it, because that's total BS. Just from actual, you know, facts, right? So yeah, that is kind of, you know, what we got going on our homepage right now. Like I said, we're actually in the process. I need to get that done today, get our menu page kind of edited. It looks just fine on mobile, but I'm gonna have to mess with it a little bit. It'll take like 5 to 10 minutes to get that fixed on the desktop side of things. So let me check the chats real quick. I see on behind the scenes, no questions so far. And then as for on the live, how's it going, Jeff? Jeff Hackworth, how's it going? No questions so far. I do actually want to, let me make sure, are you all actually seeing what? Okay, I was making sure that you guys could see the website. Let's see, I want to do this really quick. We'll stretch that over here. I'm trying to get pulled up another window for you guys. Not my calculator. Let's see, I guess we'll go with my personal. There's something else I was wanting to show you guys. Let me see. Oops. I think I just exited. Okay, there we go. So you guys can see that. Good. Let me see. I'm trying to pull up some of the questions that we also had from throughout the week. Usually I have that pulled up on my phone, but since we're going behind the scenes on the phone today, I actually need to, I should have brought my tablet in here. I wanted to pull up some questions in the meantime while we have some questions filing in from you guys. And hopefully, of course, you all are enjoying the stream. If you are, do me a favor, smash the thumbs up button for those of you that are watching behind the scenes, and those of you that are watching the screen share. I don't know why things are loading so slowly right now. Let's see, let's go back. Come on. Let's see. Maybe if I close out some of these tabs, it'll load quicker. I don't save. I don't care. Go ahead and save that though. And for those of you watching behind the scenes, because I see we have about half a dozen of you, if you want to see the actual screen share, the link for that is in the description box below. Or if you just simply have questions, go ahead and drop it in the chat as well. I said do not save. Don't worry about it. I said do not save, do not save, do not save, do not save, do not save. Man. Let's see. Questions from this week, because I'm always asking you guys throughout the week to go ahead and ask some questions. Let's see. So, not just the ones that I haven't responded to. So, from the comments and from just chats and things of that nature, I asked you guys, for those of you that haven't seen that video, about which is the best rat trap, right? We had a video where I was talking about like the Jaws rat trap, the Victor rat trap, things of that nature. I thought this was a pretty unique perspective. Very good comment too from TDHP Wildlife on that subject just yesterday. I asked you guys, which traps do you prefer when it comes to rodent trapping, like, you know, mice and rats? He said, talking about our Catchmaster traps, and I think Jaws as well, he was saying those type of traps can be limited in terms of placement. The old school traps like Victor are very different from the VPRT's yellow pan. The wooden traps are low profile that even when set, they can be placed and slid under tight areas, which I didn't even think about. Because my rule of thumb is as long as I put it roughly in the area they're gonna be, then they'll go to that. But I can see some unique scenarios where that would definitely matter, especially in like kitchens, commercial spaces, things where you're needing to actually hide the trap, right? He also said there's better models to choose from than the designs between the plastic and the traditional kill bar jaw that are meant to separate actions to the rodent once trapped. To test that statement, a test is easily done by tripping the trap on an object to examine the difference, or the handy dandy hand test. One takes rodents through pressure. VPRTs is second to none when it comes to taking rodents. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate that comment. That was definitely a thought out comment, and just something that even I didn't even like think about. I was like, that's actually, like, you make some good points there. I don't like Victor just because I'm kind of a wuss, in all honesty, when it comes to those. I just used some about a week or two ago. I just hate setting those damn things. Regardless if it's the old yellow plate one or the old school with the little metal bracket. I don't know. I don't. They do work. I'll say that. They definitely do work. And like you said, they definitely have their case for, commercial spaces, areas where you really need to do a better job of hiding them. But, everyone's got their own opinion on it. Let's see. Seeing if there's any questions. Todd Petty said, speaking on the whole trap thing, he said, I hate setting Victor traps, but they have worked best for me. I prefer T-Rex. I recently bought Catchmaster mouse traps in that style. The first one I tried to set broke. The second one broke right after I set it. And I even mentioned to him, I was like, I do find it interesting. Y'all let me know in the chat too. I find that regardless of the brand that I use, or what style of trap I use, the mouse traps always tend to be built very, very cheap. I don't know what it is. They just always feel, one, obviously lighter because they're smaller, right? But they also tend to feel flimsy. Like even the Victor mouse trap, like it feels like it wouldn't do anything, in my opinion. Like, you can literally like snap it on your finger and it just doesn't really feel like it's doing anything, in my opinion. But then of course, you go over to like Jaws mouse traps and Catchmaster, T-Rex, whatever the case may be. I will say T-Rex, of all the mouse traps specifically, I don't deal with a lot of mouse traps because for the most part we deal with rats, and even when I do deal with mice, I'll still go ahead and use my Jaws rat traps because they're a little bit smaller than the Catchmaster ones. But I will say T-Rex, from my experience, the one or two times I've used them, they probably do have the best mouse trap. Now, when it comes to rat trap, I would say it's pretty much the same as Catchmaster, and the fact that it's like, $1, $2 more, I'm going to go ahead and stick with Catchmaster when it comes to rats. But yeah, in terms of the mice traps, I do think T-Rex works great. But my whole point with that is I just feel like mouse traps tend to be very, very cheap, which is why I will, like I said, usually go ahead and still use like a Jaws rat trap, because the Jaws rat trap is a little bit smaller, but it still has enough torque, and it does the job at the end of the day. So yeah, here is a great question that I actually answered last night. Stella Drifter said, what would you do in the case of being out of state and having to jump the border in terms of SEO and Google Ads? I'm in Pennsylvania, but I only service New Jersey. And thank you for everything. Your videos are a blessing, and I appreciate the kind words. I appreciate it. But I'll just read you all off what I said first and foremost, and I'll try to expand on it. I said, that's interesting to think about. I'll have to see if I can get in touch with some people I know in the Midwest, specifically in the Kansas City and St. Louis areas, because they're right on the bordering states, Kansas and Illinois, and see how they have done that. as I personally haven't had to deal with that. And then I said I would think it would be the same as targeting other cities, suburbs, counties, etc. It's a matter of, keyword targeting, things of that nature. And I actually didn't read the part where they mentioned Google Ads. So when it does come to Google Ads, the beauty of any advertising platform is you get to actually pick and choose which zip codes, even with Google Ads in some cases, which neighborhoods, like you can do neighborhood, zip codes, city, state, country. So from the Google Ads side of it, and I'll probably respond to that comment in case if Stella doesn't see this part of the stream, but with Google Ads, it's going to be much easier. I am interested to see when it comes to the local SEO, website SEO, how that would work. I know obviously there are national companies like your Orkins, your Terminex, your Rent-A-Kill, this and that, where they are in multiple states. So it definitely can be done. How difficult is it going to be? That's the $1,000,000 question. One thing I did bring up to Stella about the local SEO side of it is one way to make it easier is by purchasing or like renting out an office space, even if it is just a simple, virtual office, as long as you can have an address that you can attach to that Google can verify. That will help from the local SEO side of it immensely, right? So, like I said, that was a really good question, and hopefully that answer will help to a large degree. Let's see. This is also a good question. This one was from about a week ago from S Redmond 4002. He said, let's see, is there a chance you can make a wildlife company without a Texas agriculture license for pest control? Do you need it? Like, do you have to have it? And from my understanding, you, at least in the state of Texas, I always like to preface any answers when it comes to licensing, this and that and the other. It's going to vary state to state, may even vary city to city, county to county, because obviously if you know how like the whole laws work when it comes to pest control and things of that nature, the federal government kind of sets the standard, and then states can be stricter, cities can be stricter, so on and so on. So, it's going to vary state to state, may even vary city to city in some cases. But from what I understand, you do not need a Department of Agriculture license here in Texas to do, like wildlife, rodents. The only time you would is if you're using like rodenticide. Once you start using rodenticides, you're using chemical product, and at that point that crosses in, from what I understand. Again, always contact whatever Department of Agriculture is in your state, regardless if it's Texas, Alabama, Hawaii, Alaska, New York, wherever you may be. Always double check if you have a question with your Department of Agriculture. All it takes is a quick phone call. They're usually not doing nothing anyway, so they're usually pretty easy to get a hold of. They always have some people on hand ready to answer questions, but from my understanding here in Texas, you do not need to have a agricultural license for that until, like I said, you get to a point where you're using rodenticide. At that point, I do believe that you will need to have your TDA license in the state of Texas. Let's see, next question. Don't see any questions in the chat so far. Of course, if you all are new and you are wondering who the heck is this guy, my name is Griffin Thomas. Of course, I own a pest control company, Preferred Pest Management, here in the Dallas, Texas area. We've been in business now for almost 4 years. And on this channel, I go live periodically just to kind of answer questions about just the business side of things. Not just pest control or anything like that, but just the overall business operation side of things. I took that business from 0 to 6 figures my first year, and we're just slowly but surely building our way up to that 7-figure mark. And, I'm just more so kind of documenting that journey for you guys. Any way that I can help you, kind of not have to go through the time that I had to go. Like we were talking about CallRail earlier. I didn't even know CallRail existed until I was like 1 year, maybe even 2 into business. That would have helped tremendously with ad spend, wasting money on ad spend, right? So, any way that I can help you guys save that time and things of that nature, that's what it's all about here. And I think that resonates with a lot of you guys too, because y'all keep subscribing. So I mean, y'all seem to appreciate the content and all that type of stuff. So do me a favor, if you are enjoying it and you're taking valuable information, smash the thumbs up if you're watching, regardless if you're watching behind the scenes or you're watching the screen share. Do me a favor, smash the thumbs up, share it with somebody. I don't advertise, the channel or anything like that. So the only way we can grow is organically from you guys sharing the streams and things like that with people that you think would benefit from it. Let's see. Jeff says, do you just work out of your home? Currently, yes. I am getting ready to act. It's funny you bring that up. I'm actually getting ready to move further out a little bit. They're trying to raise the rent here to like $3,500 a month, which we were already going to move out of this house anyways. But then once we saw they listed it for like 3,500, we were like, yeah, we're definitely moving up out of here. No doubt now. And we're going to be saving like 1,400 plus on rent. So once we do move, with that being said, I'm going to need an office location. Going back to what we were talking about with local SEO a minute ago with the Google Business Profile, that is, for your pest control business, you want to have a location ideally right in the center of your service area, but at the minimum, at least in the service area, right? So since we're moving further out of town, what I'll probably do is I'll open a second location at my home that, like I mentioned, I think in last week's stream, I'm probably not going to focus a whole lot on that. I'll probably just cross post in terms of our Google posts and reviews and things like that. But I'm going to move my current business location to an office space at that point. I've got my eye on a couple already. You can actually probably see up at the top that I have LoopNet pulled up. Funny enough, I'm actually looking at going back to my previous office space that I had, about a year ago. I had a 1 year lease there, and I for whatever reason, I decided to go ahead and pull the plug on it. Oh, I remember why. Because I opened a new location, and instead of taking my established location and moving it to that office, I, for whatever reason, opened up an entire new location there. And, it took like a whole year before we started getting some type of consistent reviews, not just reviews, but leads from that. So I was like, man, I can't really justify the $400 a month. I think it was like $375, $395 a month that I was spending when I was only getting anywhere between like 1 to 5 leads a month. Now looking back on it, I've definitely learned some things, which is why I do all this, documenting it on YouTube. That way you guys, like I always say, can learn from things that work for me, things that don't work for me, and maybe not have to go through those same hiccups. But yes, currently where you see me right now, BTS, and right here, this is actually my office in the house, because we're in like a 5-bedroom house. We have like 2 bedrooms that are pretty much unoccupied, and this one right here is the one that I use looking outside. It's good for doing the YouTube videos for you guys, and for me to, keep everything organized, receipts, contracts, whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, that's what we got going on right now. Jeff says, you're talking about just a virtual office. For me, no. I will actually be getting a legit office that I can go to, do work in. Nothing big, honestly, probably about the size of this bedroom, to be honest. Nothing too big, maybe 1 to 200 square feet, right? Nothing crazy, but that, I'll actually show you guys the office space that we're looking at. I've actually, like I mentioned, I rented from these guys before, and like you can see, they have office spaces for as low, in terms of size, as low as about 140 square feet. This is actually the same exact guy who I was talking to about it, who we paid the rent to and all that. It was almost funny, actually, because I thought for a second, because my unit was like BB or something like that, and I thought that it was open again. I was like, oh, I can get my same office space. That'd be cool. But chances are we'll probably get one of these three right here, 182, 140, one of these two. These ones are probably going to cost somewhere right around like 350 to 450 a month. Nothing crazy. And it's right where, trying to pull it up on the map. And for those of you watching behind the scenes, you're probably not seeing. You're probably, what the hell is he talking about? If you want to see, by the way, because I see we got 3 or 4 of you watching behind the scenes. If you want to see the screen share, of everything we're actually talking about, there's a link in the description box. It should take you straight over to the stream. I even labeled it like view the live stream here. But yeah, what we're looking at, if this will ever load, my goodness, is right in this area here. In Plano. It's like the North Plano, Texas area. Somewhere right in here, right here, as a matter of fact, right off 75. Right in between Plano and Allen, Texas, essentially. Because this area is actually a very, very good area right in here for, good customers. All my customers that I do have, which isn't a lot, I probably got a couple dozen in this area. They're all very good customers. I mean, they're paying anywhere between $50 to $200 a month for services. Obviously, the ones that are paying more are either commercial or they are on like our preferred protection plan, 5-star plan, whatever you want to refer to it as. The one that, if we look at my website here, the one that starts at $94 a month, where, covers everything: pest, termite, mosquito, tick, fire ant, rodent, full 9 yards. And yeah, they don't really give me a whole lot of issues. So, I'm probably, that's the plan, is I'm probably going to go back to this area here. And actually, it's right here. This is the one right here. So it's a little bit further south. Pretty much North Plano is where it's at. And if I can dominate this area, we're looking at probably 50 to 100 leads, if not more, per month. Where we are at right now is way over here in Rowlett, Texas, which is a good area. I mean, we get work over here, but do you see the issue? We're right here in this area here in Rowlett. What do you see here that could be a big issue for leads? There's a giant freaking lake. That's what this lake literally stretches 2 miles across. That is 2 miles across, not to mention probably about 10 miles, if not more, north to south, that there can't be homes. So, I mean, not to mention there's a whole lot of green, because as you head out further east, which is actually where we're moving, we're looking at like Fate-Roy City area, maybe Rockwall. Oops, did not mean to zoom in. As you can see, there's a lot of green, a lot of undeveloped as well. We get leads all the way out here to Roy City and Fate, but it's still a very new area, new development, because if you look at it in relevance to where it is to Dallas, it's about an hour drive. It's about depending on traffic, 40-minute to 3 hours drive on Interstate 30. So still developing out there. And like I said, we're right in this area right here in North Rowlett. So look at how little, sorry about that. Look how little of area we actually have to work with. I mean, the water even stretches around to the south as well. Rowlett itself is pretty much a peninsula, to be honest. Like where we're at here in Rowlett, I mean, it's pretty much a little peninsula right here. So obviously, like, we're very limited, and we're still getting anywhere between, in the slow months, next month it'll really start to pick up. But we're moving next month. But usually, starting next month, we get anywhere between 40 to even 60 leads from our business profile. So just imagine once we move over here, in terms of our office, not our personal life, but the office, we move over here where it's just nothing but homes, essentially homes and businesses. There's a couple of, little nature preserves and things like that in between, which will be nice for, like, relocating skunks and possums and things like that when we catch them. But a lot of money and a lot of suburb, you know, a lot of neighborhoods. Not to mention we even stretch south down into Richardson with our reach, because we're going to be, like we said, like right in here. Of course, it's, you know, kind of covering the map since it's trying to pull up that listing. We'll be able to reach probably just south of George Bush in terms of our organic reach, is what I'm thinking, based on the overall 6 to 8 mile radius that I know we can really dominate. We'll start stretching out kind of right in this area right here. So that's going to be, in my opinion, based on the numbers I'm running, we should probably, at the bare minimum, 1.5 to 2.5x our lead volume at the minimum. Could be even more. I mean, there were some numbers that I was running based on like population, homeowners, this and that and the other. I was like, man, we could see as much as like 4x, but you know, you always want to kind of bet on the low side of that. And, you know, if you end up getting more, then that's just more icing on the cake for you. So let me see here. How's it going, JVJ? Let's see. And then Jeff said also, you just use CallRail or do you use GorillaDesk? No, so I don't use GorillaDesk. I use CallRail along with a software called OpenPhone. OpenPhone is way cheaper than using the GorillaDesk VoIP. GorillaDesk, the pricing is a little rich. I'm not gonna lie. I love GorillaDesk, but the pricing is a little rich for their VoIP service. Now, of course, you're paying for the convenience factor as well whenever you do that, which, by the way, if you want to try out any of GorillaDesk, you know, GorillaDesk Pro version and all that, they did finally hook you all up with like an affiliate link through our YouTube channel, where you can try everything out 2 weeks totally free, you know, no strings attached. Link for that is in the description box. And if you guys want a deal on OpenPhone that I'm mentioning here as well, it's not really an affiliate link. It's more like a referral link, or like, I forget, you get like $50 off or something like that. So if you guys want that link too, I can start posting that in the description as well for you guys. I know we don't talk a lot about OpenPhone. I should dedicate like a video to them, because it is a really cool, oh, my phone's right here because I'm doing the behind the scenes, but it is a really cool platform because it allows you to literally not need 2 phones. For the longest, I had 2 phones through Verizon, and now I just have my 1 phone. I do have an iPad that I use too for like sketching termite graphs and things like that on GorillaDesk, but you know, it's nice to be able to do everything right there on 1 phone or on my tablet, because OpenPhone has an app that it's pretty much like if you were to have a burner phone number essentially, but it separates, you know, the work life thing. And then also within there you can add numbers. Like, for example, my wife has her own OpenPhone number as well, and we have it set up where when someone calls into us, be it from ads, be it from the business profile, whatever the case may be, all those numbers ring to both of our numbers at the same time. That way there's a chance that if I can't answer, she can answer. If she can't answer, I can answer. You know, just it gives us that much more of an opportunity to make sure that we're answering that phone, right? But I do love OpenPhone, and it's very, very, very affordable. So like I said, if you guys want, I can share my referral link. I'll try to remember to like start posting that in the description, because if I remember right, you get like either $50 off, or they'll send you like a $50 Visa card, something like that. I forget what it is. It's not anything crazy, but you know, $50 is $50, right? Let's see. But good question, because yeah, I don't talk about the VoIP services enough outside of CallRail. CallRail is a VoIP service technically, but it's not the same as like the GorillaDesk, the OpenPhone, things of that nature that we actually use. I see here Stefan asked in the behind the scenes, I don't know anything much about SEO and Google Ads. If you made an in-depth series about it, I'd be grateful. So I'm glad you actually mentioned that, Stefan. And let me know, by the way, if I'm like butchering your name. I can't tell if it's like Stefan or Stephanie. If I'm pronouncing it right or wrong, just let me know. But We do actually have because I try my best when it comes to like all the YouTube content. I try to create what's called playlist here on YouTube. That way, when we're talking about Google Ads, I have a playlist called like Google Ad Series or something like that. So we do have a like Google Ad Series. I don't know, man, I'm glad you mentioned the SEO part because I don't know if I've actually made like a dedicated playlist to just like the Google Business Profile SEO, website SEO, things of that nature. I'll have to double check. And if I haven't, I'll try to go in there at some point soon and create a dedicated playlist for that. But I try the best that I can. I think I've got something like at least 5 to 10, maybe even more different playlists of just different videos. I even have playlists from like way back in the day when I was doing stock market videos for you guys here on YouTube. We have like stock market playlists, live trading playlists, all this different stuff. So I try my best to, do that. And I mean, I do technically have a Google Ads. I guess it is technically a course on my website. I don't even know if I've made it public or anything like that yet because I'm always feeling like I need to add more to it for you guys. But yeah, in terms of the stuff here on YouTube specifically, I try my best to, divide that stuff up into playlist for you guys. So if you go to my channel and then hit playlist, you should be able to see where all that stuff is kind of separated, podcasts, all that type of stuff. Which leads me to another point. Speaking of podcasts, just really quick, with these live streams, and from time to time, I will do audio exclusive podcasts specifically on, all the podcasting platforms as well. So if you're not following the channel on podcasts, if you just type in Real Life Entrepreneurship with Griffin Thomas, you'll see the podcast there. I see that anywhere between half a dozen to 3 dozen or more. There's some episodes where you guys go crazy and there's like 50 to 100 of you all that listen to those episodes. But I'm trying to be more trying to mention that more because I don't talk about the podcast a lot, but that was more so specifically for you guys that prefer like the audio experience more than video. All these live streams I'm now converting from the YouTube audio to audio for like Spotify, Apple, any podcasting platform essentially. So for those of you that like that, link to the Spotify one specifically is in my bio. Or not my bio, in my LinkTree, that is, which is in the description box of all my videos. And like I said, if you don't use Spotify, then all you got to do is just type in Real Life Entrepreneurship, and it should pop up. If it doesn't for some reason, type in Real Life Entrepreneurship with Griffin Thomas, and then it should pop up then for sure. Let's see. JVJ says, when starting off, who do you suggest hiring as far as answering phone calls you have coming in while you're in the field? So that is funny you mentioned that because I was actually just in contact recently. Oh man, what is it called? SOS Pest Control Phone Answering Service. I feel like their company name was like SOS or I forget the name. Shoot. There it is, Pest SOS. This is who I've actually been in contact with, and I'm pretty much sold on going with them. I believe this is them, Pest SOS. I think it is. I'm pretty sure this is them. They integrate with everything, GorillaDesk, Field Routes, whatever you may be using, and it's literally like you hired a call center representative in-house. It costs somewhere, look at that, they now got Orkin as a client. That's pretty crazy. It costs something like, I want to say $1,000 for onboarding, and then their minimum plan is like $750 a month, plus I want to say something like 8 to 10% commission. Don't quote me on that, but once I get to a point where, like I said, if we end up moving this location over here to Plano and we start getting 50 to 100 organic leads a month on top of like Google Ads and the website and this and that, I mean, we'll be getting so many leads I won't even be able to keep up during spring, summer, fall. So if we get to that point as we expect to, then I'm definitely going to go ahead and hire them. cool thing about them too is you actually, before you even become a customer of theirs, the owner, I believe it's the owner, his name's like Brian, if I recall, he will actually set up a like a Zoom meeting with you just to kind of go over, what do you need? What are your expectations? Like a onboarding type of deal that, they want to make sure that you're a right fit for them and that they are a right fit for you. That way, if for some reason you're all not a right fit for each other, then there's no hard feelings or anything like that. So they are very thorough about vetting their potential customers as well to make sure that, they will meet your needs as a call center. And they will schedule extras for you. Whatever you need them to do, they can do it. How's it going? Bino62. What would be your drive time when you relocate? So when you say relocate, are you talking about whenever we get this office over here, or whenever we move out to Fate Roy City? Because the thing is I have customers all over North Dallas. I have customers as far out here as Cotto Mills, Josephine, Nevada, even an occasional one up here in like Farmersville, Princeton. Like I have customers all in here, and I have customers as far west as Flower Mound, like right in this area, the Louisville Flower Mound area. So I cover a lot of area east to west, even north to a certain degree. Like I have some customers in Frisco, a couple in McKinney, one or two in Fairview, like quite a few in Allen, as a matter of fact, from when we did have that office the first time, and our Google local service ad was firing on all cylinders. I even do have customers, down here in Richardson, Garland, like one or two in Addison, couple in the University Park, Highland Park, east side area of that. And then I did take a customer down here in South Dallas whenever I first started my Google ad. And believe it or not, it's not as bad as those of you that know South Dallas would expect. Yeah. At first, I was kind of scared to go down there, but now, like, I've been there a few times. I kind of walk around like I own the place, essentially. But yeah, no, I mean, I got customers all over. So, regardless of where I move, like, there's always customers that I'm going to have more drive time for. And, you know, if we end up moving right out here between Fate and Roy City, which is looking very, very likely, then my drive to my office is usually going to be, depending on traffic, at the bare minimum about 35 minutes, and then at the max upwards of an hour. If a interstate is shut down, like 30 right here through this stretch was shut down. What was it, Thursday or Friday, because of a crazy wreck? That had traffic just ridiculous on all these highways, because there's only like 3 or 4 highways to get to the east. And when this is shut down, this was backed up, this was backed up, Highway 80 was backed up. I mean, it was ridiculous. So those days, I will be staying my butt in my office and doing some work until the traffic clears up, which is like 7 or 8 o'clock that night. But like I said, it doesn't really matter where our family physically moves, because I'm always going to have some drive time to a degree. As for my office, though, it's pretty close to, when we're talking about where a majority of my customers are, which is from Louisville to Josephine, Roy City. It's pretty dang close to right in the middle of that service area. So, Dallas is big. I mean, it's freaking huge. Like, people underestimate how big DFW is. Like, to give you guys some perspective, if you drive from like Cotto Mills to, everyone knows where Arlington is, right? Where the Dallas Cowboys are. If you were to drive from Cotto Mills out to Arlington, you're looking at approximately an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours of drive time, depending on traffic and everything. So, I mean, just to give you some perspective, like that doesn't even factor in Fort Worth, which we don't go to Fort Worth at all. But I mean, DFW is just massive, and it's only getting bigger at the end of the day, as you see here with all this green being swallowed up by these towns expanding out east and up north. I remember when Melissa and Princeton and Farmersville, like it was all green. Same thing with Cottle Mills and Roar City. This was all green. And now you got the suburbs starting to expand out further and further because everyone and their mama is moving to Texas. So let's see. So yeah, like I say, either way, we'd have drive time. Bug out, termite and pest. What's up? How's it going? How's it going? Let me see. Do we have any chats in the behind the scenes live? No, nothing else, just from Stefan earlier. And hopefully you guys, regardless if you're watching the screen share or you're watching the behind the scenes stream over here on my phone, hopefully you guys are getting some good information and enjoying the stream. If you are, do me a favor, smash the thumbs up button. And the only asset I can have, because I don't ever like advertise any of my videos or anything like that, I don't put money into my YouTube channel outside of like the lighting and the streaming software, the mic, this and that. The only thing that I can ask is if you do find value in any of the videos and you know even just one person that you think could benefit, do me a favor and just share it with them. Share it via text or a Facebook group or whatever the case may be, because the only way we're growing this community here is organically through, you know, either you guys finding me through the YouTube search or the algorithm, or if someone shares a video or stream with you as well. With that, let me go back. Let me actually pull up Google Ads. Speaking of which, we haven't done much of a Google Ads update for a while for you guys. So let me go into my Google Ads account here. And hopefully, too, I haven't checked on this in a while. Hopefully, the stream quality on the desktop end is doing good for you guys. It looks like everything is up and running. It's saying excellent connection. Looks like we got about 8 to 10 of you in here currently. So yeah, hopefully everything's chugging along. I see we only got 4 likes though so far. And over on our behind the scenes, we got 0. Now, there's only a couple of you watching behind the scenes, but if you're enjoying behind the scenes, hit that thumbs up button for me. And if you're enjoying it on the desktop here, same deal, hit that thumbs up button for me. And I'm going to exit some of these tabs because things are loading a little bit slower than usual. Go ahead and exit that. So yeah, as you can see, today we have had a whopping 2 impressions for the search terms that we do want to be popping up for, at least. So that is a good sign. Exterminator, we got an impression on. Pest Control Murphy, we got an impression on as well. And specifically, that was our call ad, which I like. So that means Google is starting to get the point that we want calls from our ad. You know, I got my landing pages all set up and everything, of course, but at the end of the day, I want calls. And, you know, what I'm doing here with the call only ad that you see right here, those of you that can see the screen that we're sharing specifically, if you are watching that right now, you can see where it says call and then the phone number that we have affiliated with CallRail, right? This is kind of like taking a Google local services approach, but skipping the line, because if you type in, and it depends because they're always moving stuff around too. So say you type in pest control near me, my ad won't show up because I don't have it targeting Rowlett, Texas. But see, like right now, for example, the Google local service ones are at the top, and then directly below that, you got the remaining like Google ads, right? So this is where, say we were targeting Rowlett, which obviously we don't need to because we dominate Rowlett, from a local SEO standpoint, which is why we don't waste ad money on Rowlett. But say we were, that call ad that you guys see right here, this is exactly how it would look, and that would show up, you know, right in this area. So depending on, you know, are people looking on tablet, phone, One, it won't really show your call only ad. If you got it set up right, it won't show up on desktop, because obviously who the hell's gonna make a phone call from a desktop? I mean, I know technically you can, but who does that, right? So I got it set up where that ad will only show on phones specifically, and it would essentially look very similar to the Google local service. So we're skipping that whole line of, what is it up to now? Let's take a look at the Google local list. This company is new, and their rating has been dropping, at least new to the area, and their rating has been dropping like crazy. They were at like 4.7, now they're down to 4.2. That's what happens when you grow too fast. But let's see, let's just count them real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. What we at? 18, 19, 20, 21. And that's just this first page here. That doesn't even, it's not even, I don't know why it's not letting me go any further, because usually you can also see the companies that are on the list, but they're not paying for it at that moment. So we counted what, like 20 quick ones that are already up there. I'm not even paying for it right now, because I'm not paying $100 per lead. If I'm going to pay $100 per lead, I'm going to go ahead and pay for Google Ads instead. That way I also get the benefit of the website traffic and all that type of stuff. But back to the Google ad, that is just for today. And we only run our Google ad till, what is it, like 12 or something like that on Saturdays. And then Sundays, we don't run it at all. If we look over last 7 days, this is what's going to be kind of surprising to some of you guys. You're going to notice our impressions have dropped big time. You can see over the last 7 days, we've only had 38 impressions, which someone in our Discord group chat, I forget the name and I don't have Discord pulled up right now, but they also mentioned as well that they noticed a huge drop in impressions. So why is that? Which, by the way, we did get a lead, so we only paid $52 for a lead compared to Google Local Services, which is charging $99 to $125 right now in my area. So see why I'm not worrying about doing Google Local Service ads right now. But let's go in here to, so we need to select a campaign. Let's select our spring ad campaign group. Let's see, and then I think I even want to go further. I want to do our GPC ad group only. So you can see overall a good CTR. We have a conversion. We're pretty much at a 50% conversion rate because we only had 2 clicks this week. 1 click led to a conversion. Pretty much excellent search terms for the most part. We did have one company manage to squeak in 1 impression, but you can see pest control Roy City, pest removal near me, pest control company near me, how much do exterminators cost, pest control near me, pest control in my area, exterminator Richardson, and then good old-fashioned just pest control. So we are popping up for the search terms that we want. Why are we not getting more impressions? Well, let's go over here and take a look. If we go in here to our search keywords, and this is where, for those of you that are watching the behind the scenes, you may want to hop over in the description box, the link to this if you want to actually see this, or I guess you could see it after the fact too. But we're going to break down some important data here to explain as to why the impressions have dropped. That is because if we look at what people are willing to pay right now for the estimated first position bid and estimated top of page bid. So first and foremost, what do these two mean? So estimated top of page bid means what are you willing to pay to get in this position right here? Pretty much the top 2. Then you have estimated cost for first position bid. That means how much you pay to get right here specifically. And you can see here the costs have gone through the freaking roof on some of these search terms. You can see estimated top of page bid, you know, the top 2, $45 for search term exterminator, up to $81.85 for that first position. I have our max CPC set at $24 That's just me being disciplined. I know once I start getting up over $25 to $30, which you can see here, I adjusted pest control near me up to 30 because that is a very high intent search term. If someone's typing in literally pest control near me, there's a very, very good chance that they want to get someone out as soon as possible, right? Which ironically is where we got our 2 clicks and our conversion from. So I might even increase that a little bit, but you can see their conversion rate 50%, cost per conversion $52.54. So, you know, and as you can see here, ironically, you know, a search term that one would traditionally think is going to be one of the most expensive search terms. If you look through here, it's actually not very bad. I mean, you got pest control, estimated first position bid, $59.48. Top of the page, again, top 2, $39.26. Versus pest control near me, the estimated first position bid, $36.90, which is still, you know, up there. But again, if we can get a 50% conversion rate on this search term, I'll pay that in a heartbeat. I'll pay $40 if I need to. Why? Because if I can maintain a 25 to 50% conversion rate on that search term, then again, it's all about working the numbers, right? Say we're paying, which is what we're paying right now, essentially $26 cost per click is what we're paying, with an impression share coverage of 56.5 or 56.25. Sorry about that. Impression share, that's very good. We have our max CPC set at 30 and we're only paying 26. What does that mean? That means Google likes our ad because people are responding to it. Now it does say landing page experience average. You know, the next step up would be excellent, of course. So we're not bad, but we're not great in that area, which is probably why we're paying 26. You know, if this was excellent, we'd probably only be paying like maybe 20, 25, right? Nothing crazy, but our bid is outpacing what we're actually being charged. So that's very good, first and foremost. And for the fact that, you know, we're literally getting over half of the search volume. So knowing that, we got 56%, pull out the old handy dandy calculator here, knowing that we got 56% of the entire impression share, right? That means that there was only, what, 23 people that searched for a search term in this area. And again, we're going to break that down here in just a second as well. I kind of nerd out over this stuff. I love Google Ads. That means in our search area, only about 23 people searched pest control near me, or a search term that was pretty much identical to pest control near me, right? That could be pest control Roy City, like you guys saw on the screen share. It could be pest control company near me. You all saw the search terms a second ago. So that means I want to leave this alone. That's what this means. This is working perfectly. I just need to leave this alone. Check in periodically to see if this goes up or down. Does my impression share go down and I need to increase my max CPC? All that stuff. I accidentally added some keywords in here that I didn't mean to, like flea treatment, all that stuff. You guys know you're supposed to create a separate ad group for each type of service. We've already gone over that. That's why we have a mosquito control ad, a termite control ad, a general pest ad, a bed bug ad. Like, we have ads for each different type of pest. Google just likes it that way. Now, you know what I'm thinking about doing here, since the search term for, or the keyword exterminator is so expensive right now, I'm going to go ahead and pause that. And I need to just remove some of these altogether. I'm going to keep these up here just because I want to keep track of what they cost. And if the cost ends up becoming attractive enough, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to paste those into the Google Keyword Planner in the future. and I might create like a flea control ad, flea treatment ad, things of that nature. Because at $18 per click, it's almost kind of making me want to. But again, flea treatment's the only downside of it, right? Is they're one-time services. You know, they're very rarely going to be converted to anything like a general pest plan, things of that nature. So if the conversion rate's high enough, say 20%, 50%, ideally 50, but you know, realistically 20, right? Say we convert 1 out of 5 at $18, right? That's going to be what, 50? That's going to be $90 for the acquisition on a service that may cost $200 to $300, right? So we would have close to 30% or more of the, you know, the sell in the customer acquisition. So like I said, right now it's a little rich in my opinion, but if that can come down to like 12, 15 even, becomes to be a little bit more enticing. But let me see, I want to make sure I got, what else do we got? Pest control in my area, that bids at 25. We don't have any impression share. It's kind of interesting. Let me go ahead and I'm going to up this to $26. Let's see, we don't need cockroach control. We're going to go ahead and pause that. So the exterminator near me, that is showing at $29.96. Since that's another high phrase, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and bump that up to 30. Just like we would pest control near me. Because again, these are high search intent keywords. We did find a potential gem here with how much does an exterminator cost. It is a phrase that, believe it or not, people do search. You can see this week it only got 1 impression. But it is getting impressions. That's the point. What I like the most is the estimated cost for the top, very top position is $8.83. So say that, you know, sure, it's a lower searched for term, but say it has a high conversion value, say it has high conversion rate, you know, or even an average, right? Let's just stick with that 20%, or hell, let's even say 10, right? Let's say 10% conversion rate. That would be what, about $80 roughly. Worst case scenario, like $88 roughly, in terms of what we would be paying for a customer acquisition on a, you know, like we said, the search term is how much does an exterminator cost. So that's one that, you know, I have there. I'm probably going to lower this. I don't need to be paying $10. I can pay $9 and be at the top. What else do we got here? Carpenter ant treatment, we pause that. Pest control service, I don't know why we're not getting impressions for that. And again, this also goes into whenever we look at the actual entire campaign. If we actually go into, what is it, audiences? Or no, it should be locations. Oh, that's because we're in. I need to go all 4. There we go. Locations. Let me check the chats and see. See behind the scenes, folks. No questions right now. Let me see if we have any questions in our chat or sharing stuff. Let's see. How's it going, Rob? Rob Williams. About how much is it costing per conversion to being a customer? So you're talking about actual CPA, cost per acquisition, because cost per conversion, I should have mentioned that, of course. Cost per conversion is obviously not CPA, right? Cost per conversion is what is the cost per lead. So say you're paying, like you saw that one, we paid $52 for that conversion. Then you're trying to calculate, okay, what from the conversion rate, what is the acquisition rate? Which is obviously going to be a separate calculation. So say you're paying, we'll call it $52, because that's what we paid this week for a conversion, and you convert that one to a customer. Obviously, your conversion rate for that week is 100%. That one, actually, as a matter of fact, I need to follow up with him again. As of now, he has not converted. So as of right now, obviously, conversion rate is at 0 for last week, because that was our one lead last week that we got. And I'm actually going to get into in a minute here how we're going to actually increase our number of conversions coming in with this whole location thing here in just a second. But let's see, you said, I think you were actually getting to that. For example, if you receive 10 ads, 10 ads, 10 ads at $200, you converted to, okay, so you're saying, and you can let me know if I'm misunderstanding your comment. When you say 10 ads, I'm guessing you mean like 10 leads. 10 leads at $200 and you converted 2 of them, that would be $100. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you're right in terms of what you're saying there. I will say 10 conversions at $200. Good luck during spring and summer. Now, it depends on the area too. There's going to be certain areas, like my area, it's ultra competitive. So my cost per click on high target keywords is going to be much higher than someone, say, in St. Louis, Missouri, right? Or Kansas City, Missouri, or Milwaukee, Wisconsin, somewhere where there's probably not nearly as much competition. So you may be able, depending on where you're at, to get a $20 per conversion type of deal. Usually the target, to give you an idea, Rob, because I think this is kind of what you're getting to with your question, is like, what's my target, like what we're aiming for essentially per customer acquisition. Circling back to that term, our target during the winter months is less than $100 ideally, and then our, right now, spring and summer months, if we can stay under $200 per acquisition, that is just fine. Now, not ideal, because obviously we're getting a bunch of customers, quote unquote, for free through our Google business profile, through our website, through all those, SEO efforts that I'm doing myself on the back end. Doesn't cost me any money, but it does cost me time, sweat equity, the things we were talking about here on the old whiteboard, I believe in last week's stream, when we were talking about, stuff you can do that doesn't cost you any money versus stuff you can do that does cost you money. Google Ads is more so once you start rolling in the money in terms of you're getting your 10 to 20 or however many leads and customers you're gaining per month through your local SEO efforts and your website SEO efforts. You're just reinvesting that money into, your Google Ads, Facebook ads, whatever you may prefer. I love Google Ads the most because I can control the most. Facebook ads, it used to be a little bit better, but I never really had too much success with Facebook ads. Even when I hired an agency for 3 months, we spent like close to $1,000 to $2,000. Nada. We had a bunch of leads, but a bunch of unqualified leads. So, I like Google Ads the most when you're getting into, okay, we've kind of tapped out what we can do from a local SEO and website SEO efforts. When you get to that level where you need to start investing money into advertising, I like Google Ads the best. It is more expensive, but you can control a lot more. And there's a lot to, like, in terms of, how am I trying to phrase what I'm trying to say? Like, you can actually track everything much easier, especially when you use like CallRail, right? So hopefully that kind of helps. Google Ads, like I said, is much more expensive regardless of where you're at. Some areas, like where I'm at, it's going to be a lot more expensive, but there are some areas where you can get cost per acquisition, or not cost per acquisition, cost per conversion, as low as $15 to $30. But for the most part, those days are long gone, because like you've seen with our cost per clicks that we're having to pay, if we're paying anywhere between $20 to $40 per click, even if you're converting at a ultra high rate, 50% conversion rate, you're already talking anywhere between $40 to $80 per conversion. But then also, what is your, like you said, what is your actual conversion rate on the conversion rate, right? Like, what is the cost per acquisition? Because say, okay, we got an awesome conversion rate, 50%, which is very uncommon. If you can get anything 20 or above, you're usually doing very good. But we're just going with a unicorn scenario here because we did convert at 50% this last week. technically, you know, we had 2 clicks and 1 lead. But say, you know, that somehow you're a unicorn and every week you're hitting 40-50%, right? Well, then you need to think in terms of what is my percentage, what's my closing rate on those conversions? Is it 20%? Is it 50%? Is it 80%? For us, generally speaking, it's about 50, you know, 40 to 60%. It's been getting better recently. It's like 50, 55 right now. But let's just go with let's go with the 50% number again, just for an easy number. So say your conversion rate, like we said, you're a unicorn, you're at 50% conversion rate in terms of getting them to call you, submit a form, whatever the case may be. You know, so you're paying, like we said, $50 per conversion like we did this week. And then your conversion rate, like we said, let's say, or not conversion rate, your closing rate on those conversions is also 50%. That would make your cost per acquisition 100, or in this case, $104 this week. So that is how, in essence, you calculate your cost per acquisition. You need to know what your conversion rate is. First, you need to know how much you're paying per conversion, what your conversion rate is. I mean, I guess you don't technically have to know the conversion rate. It's just better to know all of that information, which, again, when you set up everything correctly with the integration with CallRail and Google Ads, it makes it 100 times easier because those reports are automatically in your analytics of your conversion tracking. But as long as you know your cost per conversion, that's the most important thing, then you can calculate your cost per acquisition. Because like we said, you know, say you're paying, you know, $100, like you said, or whatever case may be. Say you're paying $100 per conversion, which you shouldn't be. That is extremely high. But say you're paying $100 per conversion and your closing rate on conversions is 33%, you know, 1 in 3, right? Well, then your cost per acquisition is obviously going to be $300, right? So it fluctuates, right? Slower seasons, price of things come down, closing rate may go. I notice my closing rate in the winter is always so much higher. I don't know why, but my closing rate is usually like 2/3 during winter, and then it's like 50%, sometimes even less during the summer. It's kind of weird, but yeah, I kind of nerd out over those numbers too. Just because, you know, it's good to know. Like, if you don't know that information, you're just wasting money at the end of the day. Bug Out Pest and Termite, or Termite and Pest said, I appreciate you, my man. I plan on doing more info vids. It's mostly advertising for me right now. Yeah, no. Yeah, I need to do, I'm guessing you're talking about like posting on your pest control YouTube channel. I need to be doing that more myself, to be honest. I think I actually just posted one like a week or so ago, kind of advertising our 5-star preferred protection plan. So what I wanted to do too, before we started talking about all the numbers with, like, you know, cost per acquisition and all of that, cost per conversion, this and that and the other, don't get confused by all these terms either, guys. I mean, it's very simple. You know, you have your cost per click, right? How much does it cost to get someone to click on your ad, right? How much does that cost? Then you have cost per conversion. What's a conversion? A conversion is a lead, phone call, form submission. That's pretty much it, right? Getting them to contact your business. That is a conversion. That's your lead, right? You need to know that. From there, you calculate your cost per acquisition, the cost to actually convert that lead to a customer. If you know that you're converting leads on average at 40%, 50%, whatever percent it may be, plug that in to, you know, what your costs are on your lead costs, conversion costs, whatever term you may want to use, and then you have your cost per acquisition cost. Pretty straightforward, right? I didn't lose anybody with that explanation, did I? If anyone needs clarification on that, behind the scenes folk, which hopefully you guys are enjoying the stream too. If you are, do me a favor, smash the thumbs up button. Like I said, smash thumbs up, share it with somebody, whatever the case may be. Same for you guys over here, seeing the screen share and all that stuff, which hopefully you guys are seeing all this too. Cool. But yeah. So one thing we actually made an adjustment to. Look at our map right here. So you guys know that I was mentioning that a lot of this area is still developing, right? And I know that I like this area in terms of customers too, right? So one thing that I have made an adjustment to is I shrunk my area that I wanted to advertise to. The reason being is because that was actually some advice that I had received from other people um, online, like specifically here on YouTube and just all like from actual like people that run Google Ads for people. They're like, if you're not getting clear data in terms of the fact that a certain, what am I trying to say here? A certain zip code or certain city or whatever the case may be, if you're not getting enough data to know that, hey, this zip code rocks, this zip code sucks, whatever the case may be, that may mean that you're targeting too many areas for your ad budget. So what everyone was saying to do is go ahead and shrink that area and then expand as needed. So over the last week or two, I have shrunk the area considerably. We're probably targeting no more than, I would say, 500,000 people at the absolute most, maybe even 300,000, like 300,000 to 500,000 people at the absolute most. With that, obviously we haven't, I didn't mean to do this month. Let's go like last 14 days because I just made this change, like we said, over the last like 2 weeks, right? So, as expected, the areas with the most population, and we also have a bid adjustment of plus 2%, which, doesn't really matter ultimately. I'm actually going to make that 0. Go ahead and change that. Yeah, that was the only one I had for some reason. But the area with the most population over in Allen, Texas had the most impressions. Now I say that, but then if we look over here at 75025, which is also a pretty popular, or not popular, but populous, I guess you could say, if that's even a word, area, that area has not had a single impression over the last, 2 weeks, 14 days. Just to give you guys perspective, these zip codes 75166, 75173, these are areas up here that are, like I said, still developing. The 75166 probably has 40,000 people in it. 75173 has less than 20,000 people in it. Like, these are very small zip codes, so it makes sense that there's very little activity. 094, another small little suburb called Murphy, Texas, up here that you guys can see, probably has about 30 to 50,000 people. Again, very small overall. But then look here, this 5-mile radius custom that we built right over here, right? Yeah, that's a big one. Okay. That one also only has one impression. That covers Fate, Texas. It covers most of Rockwall, northern Rockwall, Texas. And even a little bit of Royce City in there. And then the other one, same deal, 4-mile radius, no impressions. I would venture to say that whenever we go back and look at search keywords, it's a combination of one, very low population, which obviously means there's not going to be as many people searching for these different search terms. But at the same time, if we go over here, we can actually see that a lot of our search terms, which we're in the whole ad group now, so we're seeing like termite control, our wildlife ones, this and that. Let's go back and do it this way, because obviously our GPC ad group is what we're most focused on right now, with it being full on pest control season now. As we can see at the same time, though, for search term pest control, we're only at 18% impression share. Pest control service, 0%. Exterminator near me, 0%. Pest control in my area, 0%. And some of this could be obviously the people are just quite literally not searching for these terms. But because we have our max CPC set to where we are very competitive, I don't think it's a matter of setting our cost too low issue. I am leaning towards that we are not targeting a broad enough area. That's what I'm thinking. And that's fine because, you know, like the people that I've been listening to said, you would rather shrink it down and then realize, like, man, like, I'm not spending my ad budget at all. Like, you guys see, we have it set at $200 a day. We have spent like right at $1,000 all month, and that's with our ad budget staying at $200 a day all month. So if you do the math, running our campaign 5 to 6 days a week, we are allowing for $1,200 a week. And we're not even hitting that barely in a whole month. So, you know, at the end of the day, when you're analyzing that, it's one of two things. Either you're not willing to pay enough for the clicks, so Google's not giving you the impressions, or B, you're not targeting a broad enough area. There's just not that many people searching for the terms that you got put in, right? And it could be both. It could be both too, right? So I went from doing what I'm doing in terms of our cost per click bid strategy, you know, being very competitive with most of the search terms, especially the high intent search terms. And I shrunk it down. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a tweak as we head into next week and start, you know, increasing our area. Let me see if we have any questions, by the way, on this subject. Let's see. Jeff said, do you have any experience using a virtual office and dealing with Google? No, not a virtual office. I will say though, like, one, it's something you gotta be very careful with. Whenever you're actually working, you know, chatting back and forth with one of these virtual office people, confirm with them that you will be able to confirm a physical location. It's usually going to cost more. You're not going to be able to get a physical location on the map for $5 a month, or 10, or 20, or probably even 50. To be able to get a physical location on the map, you're probably looking closer to $100 on up. So don't look at any of these virtual offices that are cheap, because they are nothing more than what they sound like, a virtual office where you can receive mail at the most. You want, one, receiving mail is a good sign, but like I said, before you sign a contract with them, which most of them are month to month anyway, so worst case scenario, say you sign up with them and, you know, you're not able to confirm that, then obviously you can bounce after a month and, you know, move on to the next one. But do your due diligence, confirm with them, like, have them say on record that, like, yes, you can confirm your address. I even had a guy in Plano, a different office, who he already filled the office, so I'm not getting that one, but he told me, he was like, I don't know exactly how all that works, but I can tell you for a fact that if you're talking about Google sending you like a postcard to confirm your address, you can 100% do that here. And I was like, great, that's exactly what I needed to hear. And when I look, and that's another thing, find the address of the virtual office, look it up on Google. And if you see that when you type in on Google Maps that address, and then you see like 6 to 10 other businesses listed under that address with like different suite numbers, there's a very, very high chance that that is a location that you can, you know, confirm with Google and be on the Google Map pack. So that's actually a good question, because I've been going through that myself. There's a lot of them that I had chatted with who were like, you know, trying to almost play dumb, right? They're like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, or like, just move on. Like, if they act like they don't know, chances are the answer is no. Like, just move on to the next location, You know, there's so many out here ever since COVID. But this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to start adding some zip codes back in. The easiest way to do this is obviously, like, if you know the zip codes off the top of your head, you can just either copy and paste them in, or you can do it this way too. This is actually the way I prefer to do it. And again, those of you watching behind the scenes, it may be something you want to click the link in the description box and actually view from the stream where we're actually screen sharing here. But what you can do is you can hit this little toggle that says show all areas. And you can do, you used to be able to scroll through this and do like zip codes only. So let's see here if it'll do it now. Sometimes you got like zoom out. There we go. So now we'll zoom in. And this will even do like freaking congressional districts, counties, all that. So you want to be careful that, you know, you're selecting the right one. So like I want to go ahead and target Saxe, Texas, the 75048 zip code. So we'll go ahead and hit target. We also want to go ahead and target this area over here, 075. So we're going to hit target. And we're going to go ahead and do 023. I believe I want to do 023. So we're going to go ahead and do target on there as well. And then I want to go ahead and come down here to 081, target. 080, target. 082, target. And then 044, target. You know what? I actually do not want 023. Because that's actually where my office is going to be, is like right here. So why would I advertise that? But I will go ahead and keep these for now. And I'll adjust them as I need to. Because that's the other thing. Say you start noticing that the quote unquote cheap clients, right? Say they are in certain zip codes, which you will catch on to, especially if you're in a big area like Dallas. You can go ahead, like I know this zip code, specifically this side of 75, really in Plano, they're very, very cheap. I don't know if I'm gonna spread it much more north. We'll leave 02 out too. And we already have all of that. No, not that zip code. Oh, it's the same zip code there. Oh yeah, we'll target this one too. 093. Wait, I thought I already did 024. Oh, that's 025. Okay. 024. Okay. So we're going to save that. And as you can see, we added a lot of areas in terms of population. We added how many zip codes? Like at least 5 or 6 at the minimum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we added like 8 zip codes roughly. So yeah, I mean, that'll be interesting. I might even make some adjustments potentially to different keywords and things like that and see how this first week goes, because obviously the price for the keywords is also going to change based on, you know, just what each area is going to be different. Like each zip code is going to be different too. When did we get a third click? Oh, it's from the last 14 days. Okay. Yeah, because today we haven't like had anything. We just had a couple of impressions, if I recall. Let me see real quick if we have any other questions or anything. If we don't, we'll probably start looking to wrap it on up. Let's see, do you have experience with virtual? Oh, yeah, we already went over that. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I guess if you all don't have any more questions or anything, we'll probably start to look at wrapping the stream up. Just want to make sure everything's still doing all right for you guys as well. And like I said, hopefully you guys have been getting some like valuable information today. If you have been, do me a favor, just smash that thumbs up button. Like I said, even if you don't feel like sharing it with anybody, just do me a favor and smash that thumbs up. Lets me know that you guys appreciate, you know, the streams and the videos and all that stuff, and it helps YouTube's algorithm, you know, do their little magic and push it out to other people that may benefit from the content. And like I said, if you do know anybody that you think could benefit, do me a favor, just hit that share button. You can share it via text, Twitter, Facebook, whatever the case may be. I guess X, not Twitter anymore, right? Whatever the case may be. And lastly, if you're not already in our groups, we have free Discord group, free Facebook group. All of those are in my description box and my LinkTree specifically. Like I said, we were talking about GorillaDesk earlier. If you want to try out GorillaDesk for free, no strings attached, there is a link in my description box now for you guys where you can get it. The pro version too, not just the basic version, the pro version, 2 weeks for free, no strings attached, no contract, anything crazy like that. You can try it out for 2 weeks. And if you like it, then you can obviously keep using it going forward, but they're giving it to you for free for 2 weeks to just try out and see if you like it, if nothing else. And when I was mentioning our groups in Discord, we have like something like 300 members in there now. And on Facebook, we're up to like 120, 125, I believe, last I looked. So that group is also continuing to grow by the day. And yeah, as always, I just appreciate you guys, those of you that joined in behind the scenes and those of you that were in the chat on here, on our usual stream, you know, screen recording, all of that good stuff. I always appreciate you all tuning in as well. Lastly, if you're not already subscribed, didn't even mention that. If you're not already subscribed, do me a favor, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell icon beside it. That way you won't miss any live stream or videos that we do. If you're seeing this, of course, after we go from a live to a video as well, you can always drop a question down in the comments down below. That way, you know, if for some reason I don't see that, oops, I didn't even mean to hit that. If I, for whatever reason, don't see it, it will actually send me a notification, I guess, if that makes sense, if I'm even wording that right. Like, say you don't see the stream, but you do have a question, you can post it in the comments, and even if I don't see it on the video, YouTube will actually send me like a notification that you've asked a question. It'll show up like in my little YouTube account or whatever, and then I can answer it in the next live stream. And I try the best I can whenever I have time to actually reply back to you guys, like directly in the comments as well, whenever I have time to do so. So yeah, let me see. Get us some more action vids. Oh yeah, try and get some more like out in the whatever you want to call it, out in the field, right? Thanks again for the knowledge. Yeah, no. Thank you for tuning in. As always, bug out, termite and pest. Yeah, I am. One last point before we get off. I am trying here in the future to kind of up the video game in terms the video. I guess it is a game, like the video, game in terms of doing more like out in the field videos. You guys seem to have responded pretty good to that. Might even start doing like some videos just on like different chemicals that I use, like showing you guys like around the truck about like this is a chemical that we use for this scenario and that scenario and this and that, where you can get it from and how much it costs. Like just try to do more stuff like actual, you know, in the business outside of just the, you know, the marketing, the customer acquisition, the business management, the discipline, the motivation, this and that and the other, right? Can only post so much about that stuff at the end of the day, right? So yeah, I do plan on doing that more in the future, as I have time and resources, things of that nature to, you know, get more equipment. That's the main thing, is having the equipment, the tripods, and this and that. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that people don't really think about when it comes to like doing the YouTube videos, and you have to like have the right equipment. That way, you know, you can show what you're doing at the end of the day. So as I get more of that, I'll definitely be pumping out more of those videos for you. And like I said, as always, if you all have any video ideas, not just questions, drop them in the comments down below of anything you all would like to see, and I'll try to get on that for you guys as I can. Spoiler alert for those of you that are still watching, there's a new Flow Zone product out, and probably looking at getting my hands on it here within the next month, roughly. They're sold out pretty much everywhere. I'm sure you guys that know anything about Flow Zone know what I'm referring to already. But maybe a video in the works on that coming in the next month or two. So be on the lookout for that. Subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise,